Roslyn, Washington is a beautiful little town hidden away in the mountains of Kittitas County, Washington. Roslyn was founded in 1886 as a coal mining town. There's no coal mining going on there today, though. Now the local economy depends on forestry and tourism. Most of the tourists come to see the Roslyn Cafe sign that was made popular by the hit TV show Northern Exposure. Roslyn was the backdrop for that Alaskan town in that show. Others come for the variety of restaurants and bars with live music in the area as well. Roslyn also has a lakeside vacation resort. But that's not why we're here today. With a population of just under 1,000, Roslyn, Washington officially has more dead people than living. We're here to visit the Roslyn Cemetery, specifically the grave of one little girl named Margaret.
The family did experience some ghostly phenomenon over the years. On one occasion, the woman who lived in the house was in the kitchen cooking dinner. She was facing the stove, which was against one wall, and the bathroom door, which was behind her. When she turned around, she saw that every chair in the kitchen, and even a few across the room, were all piled up against the bathroom door. The woman doubtful that someone would have taken the time to sneak in and silently pile up all the chairs against the door while she was making dinner. Was the owner might want to close off the bathroom where people once experienced enemas and hard massages, or if they had died and relatively long time to the hazard, and so it's the replacement made after she died. In Lycan once said she saw spirits of many of his victims sitting on the ledges, too afraid to move even in death. The psychic burst into tears several times over the anguish she felt saturating in the walls of her lives. Washington State Paranormal Investigation.
Welcome everybody, it's the Afterlife Collective. I'm Leah.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Ulysses.
And today we're at Roslyn Cemetery in Roslyn, Washington, and we've come to pay the respects to the 5,000 people buried here at the 26 cemeteries. What do you think of this place so far? I think this is one of the most beautiful places we've been so far.
Oh, for sure. I absolutely love the environment. I was just talking to Ulysses about that. It's very calm here. It's very calm. It's very serene, real relaxing. The air is great.
But we're kind of here today, here with the 26 different cemeteries. We have to touch on the history just a little bit because there's 5,000 people or more buried here.
It's a lot of voices.
Yeah, a lot of voices. So we are going to do a little bit of investigating around these areas, but we're here mostly to see, there's a story that I have about a little girl named Margaret. And this is kind of a personal story for me because years ago, I had a friend come up here and show me this little girl's grave in the middle of the night, believe it or not. And there's a whole story behind that. He was he would come up here and visit her a lot. I always teased him, he was kind of obsessed with the little girl.
Life was hard in the early years of building this country. People had to work hard for what they had. Even then, by comparison today, they had little to nothing. People back then were lucky if they lived to be past their 40s, and it was rare to see a grave marker from the old cemeteries where someone lived to be in their 50s or beyond. And Roslyn was no exception. Life was deadly for both adults and children. Between 1890 and 1900, Roslyn experienced the outbreaks of typhoid, diphtheria, meningitis, and smallpox. In 1892, mine number 1 had an explosion, killing 45 miners in the process. If they weren't killed by the explosion, they died from breathing coal dust and suffocated. To this day, this remains the worst coal mine disaster in Washington state history. It left behind 29 widows and 92 plus children, with some being left as orphans. Death, disease, and misfortune never discriminates.
I'll just kind of take you around. This is a great example of like an attendance board. Okay, so in 1916, there were miners down. One 76-year-old man had which is pretty old for being a miner. Yeah. He ended up going down, and they would blast every day at like 4 o'clock at the end of their shift, and then the next day they would come back in and pick up the coal and load it up. Okay, so one night at midnight, his wife called and said, "Hey, my husband hasn't come home yet." And they said, "Oh, God." It wasn't unusual because there were 23 bars in town. And so they went down and checked, and sure enough, he had been killed. He went back to check on his blast that didn't go off, and then it did go off. And his partner was there to go check on him, and another big piece fell and broke his leg. So you can imagine when people were setting off blasts everywhere, and the trains are running on the tracks, and everybody's saying goodbye, goodbye, whatever.
Too noisy to hear them, right?
Yes, nobody could hear them yelling for help. So they went down, and the inspectors would always come in after every accident and say, here's what you did wrong or could have been done better. So out of this particular accident, his name was Elijah Cox, and they told him, or they told the mine owners, you have to have a way of seeing who's down there and who comes back. So you've heard the expression, your number's up. Well, if your number, in the morning, they put their number on, go down into the mine, and come back out and take it off. So this is still used. In fact, the people that were just in here, the gal said they used to use it at camp when they would go swimming or, go into the water so they'd know who was out there. And they use it for firefighting now. But it came about because of this particular accident, and then it spread all over the world.